Hi sweeties, if you haven't subscribed to my backup channel, what are you waiting for? Kindly smash that subscribe button. Please, I am begging you. Welcome to Nanyacim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification so you get notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all, and I want to say a very big shout out, a very big shout out to every one of you for all the support. I appreciate you all. You all are the real MVPs. Thank you so much. So today we'll be checking out more on the modern day Lynn-ching. Yeah, you all know how we do it. Stay glued to the screen. Do not go anywhere. Let me roll the clip so we can come back to talk about that. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. Yeah, let's get into it. Let me roll the clip.
Didn't end, it adapted. Trigger warning, this might be very upsetting for my Black viewers. My followers and the TikTok gods have given me the mission of talking about modern day lynching. So even if this is upsetting, I want to ask white people to stay. Let's go. In this series, we're going to talk about how lynching adapted, why it adapted in these specific ways, how it continues to show up in our everyday lives, and the propaganda that is being used to convince us that none of this is actually going on. So we have to begin by defining lynching very specifically. A lynching was a public execution, which, even if illegal, was still allowed for the purpose of maintaining a racial social order. What we usually understand as lynching ends with the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement cut off the Hydra head that was lynching. And shout out to the GOAT, Ida B. Wells. As white people do, we didn't stop doing the horrific monstrous thing. We just adapted it just enough so white people could say with a straight face, well, we're not doing carnival lynchings anymore, so why are you trying to live in the past instead of celebrating all the progress we've made? Because number one, you did not want that progress. It was forced upon you. And no, we're not giving you credit because when you watch George Floyd being murdered on camera in broad daylight, you weren't eating popcorn with your kid sitting on your shoulders. No, you don't get credit for that. But like a Hydra, when you cut off one head, you get three in its place, which makes them harder to fight because no one of them is doing the same thing. But together, they're all effectively doing the same thing. So what are the three heads? The first one is the death penalty. Number two is police brutality and qualified immunity. And number three is the weaponized incompetence of our justice system to investigate and prosecute the suspicious deaths of Black, brown, and Indigenous people. Obviously, this is an ambitious argument. A lot of puzzle pieces need to be fit together. But we haven't killed the Hydra. We have a lot to talk about, so make sure if you are Black, please continue scrolling. This video might be triggering. If you're white, please stick around. Let's get into it. When in American history was lynching going on? Let's start at the end of the Civil War, which was indisputably fought over slavery. When the Confederacy lost, Black people were given constitutional rights. But making a law saying that Black people were people did not convince all of the white supremacists who lost the war and were kind of butthurt about it. After the Civil War, there was a brief period that we call Reconstruction, where the Northern troops protected Black people from their former slave owners. And for just about 12 years, Black people voted and they held office and they owned land and they built schools and they flourished. And then the North just stopped protecting them just like that. But white supremacists really wanted to keep the racial social order, and their answer to this problem was lynching. So let's not mince words. This was a terrorist campaign. Yes, white people were terrorists. From 1882 to 1968, 4,743 lynchings occurred. Many historians believe the true number is underreported. So their goal was essentially to say to the Black community, yeah, I guess you technically have the right to vote, but if you do, me and my friends will come find you and your pregnant wife and torture you to death and nobody will do anything about it, and I will go to church on Sunday like it is all good. So do you want to vote? And yes, the government allowed this, including both political parties. Politicians and law enforcement were either complicit or participants. I had so many commenters saying that was so long ago, don't live in the past, we need to move on, that was hundreds of years ago. No, it wasn't. This was 1968. That was 54 years ago. Maybe 1% of people who committed these atrocities were ever held accountable. These are not accusations, but an important reference point. Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell would have been about 26. Donald Trump would have been 22 in 1968. The people who got away with this very well might be making laws today. The past is never dead. It's not even past.
All right, so before we continue, I actually had an argument with someone that told me that lynching is no longer happening in America, right? And I told this person that I have done like two videos on lynching, and most of them were talking about the recent lynchings, right? And like we went forth back, forth back, forth back. I was like, okay, there is no need to argue, all right? And I am going to do something, make more research. And if I don't find anything anymore on lynching, aside from the ones that I have done, you won. You know what? And this is me actually bringing you the recent events. That is what I am about to roll now. That is still going on. And someone is telling me that lynching is no longer happening in America. Instead, go to the screen. Let me roll there.
Y'all, I just heard about this for the first time last night. Rasheem Carter was a young man from Mississippi. He went to Taylorville, Mississippi for a job. At some point, he realized that 3 Whyte men were following him and harassing him in Taylorsville. He notified his family and he went to the police station. The police did not take him seriously at all, and they were no help. Rasheem did not have his car with him in this new city. Something was wrong with it, so he asked the police if he could wait at the police station until his family got there. The police flat out told him no. This happened on October 2nd, and that was the last day anyone saw Rasheem alive. Rasheem went ahead and pinned his location at that time so that his family knew where to pick him up. But when they got there, he was nowhere to be found. His family went ahead and filed a missing persons report. October 28th, a farmer came forward and said that he saw Rasheem on his deer cam October 2nd. Fast forward to November 3rd, 31 days after Rasheem went missing, his remains were found on private property. This is such a sad case. Rasheem did not deserve this at all, and his family deserves to know what happened to him. Rasheem could still be alive if only the police would have helped. If only they took him seriously. There are so many questions just still left unanswered. Y'all, please do your best to help Rasheem's family get him justice. From my understanding, the FBI is involved. Rasheem's family does have a GoFundMe. Please consider donating if you can to support them through this. They need money for things like legal help, a private investigator, and an independent autopsy. And of course, Rasheem's mother has not been able to return to work after such a tragedy. Y'all be safe out there, please.
In the end, it was actually he was lynched. All right, let's get into the next one.
Hey everybody, my name is Devon Trey Norman. I'm an activist here in the city of Lafayette, Louisiana, about 20 miles from where Kawan Charles was found, what we believe to be lynched in the city. I've been standing with Stand Black along with the Village 337, an organization that I helped found, and the New Black Panther Party to find out what is going on with Kawan Charles and so many others like the NAACP, the ACLU, and many people who have reached out across the country. What we are asking is that you keep his name alive. Keep sharing the post, keep on fighting, because what happened to Kawan could happen to your child. This is a modern day lynching and something has to be done about it. God is not pleased with what is going down in the state of Louisiana. And I understand we're not a swing state, but we are a state and we are people who need help. And if they won't help us, then our people need to rise up and we need to help ourselves. Y'all remember, it's not a moment, it's a movement. God bless you and God keep you.
This is 44-year-old father of 5, Michael Williams. On September 16, 2020, a mother and daughter riding down the road noticed a fire in the ditch. This was about 4 p.m. At 5:30 p.m., the mother went back to investigate, thinking that she was going to find a sick cow. Instead, she noticed a hand. She phoned police. They found Michael Williams burning in a ditch, wrapped in cloth, plastic, carpet, secured by rope and tape. Through the investigation, it was determined that Michael had actually been killed 4 days prior by way of strangulation. His murderer kept him in their basement for 4 days before dumping the body. And just think about that.
Justice for Ahmaud Arbery. So you have an ex-cop and his ex-district attorney's son who killed him. They lynched Ahmaud Arbery while he was jogging. The cops did not arrest them because they're on some white supremacist lynching bullshit.
Please watch this.
Anybody want to take a guess of when a
anti-lynching law got passed.
Now you might ask yourself, why is this? Why did it take so long for an anti-lynching bill to be pushed through the Congress on a federal level and become a law? Well, might have something to do with the fact that by the 1920s end, there was almost no lynchings taking place. And by the end of the 60s, there are no reported lynchings in the United States of America onward. As a matter of fact, most reports of lynching after the 1970s have been confirmed to be hoaxes. So you might say that the reason that there are no anti-lynching laws on the books is because we stopped doing it and it stopped being a priority. But go ahead. Feel like a victim if you need to.
I was going to ask for your source where you got that information from, but it is very, very clear that the source is just trust me, bro. Now, it's been a while since I was in kindergarten learning my letters and my numbers. But 1980 definitely comes after 1960. I'm still trying to figure out how somebody can twist their mouth to say there's been no reported lynchings after 1960. And then in the very next sentence say, in fact, any lynchings that were reported after 1960 were confirmed to be a hoax. It gave me the exact same vibe as the when our history teacher had told us Christopher Columbus discovered America. They stepped off the boat and were welcomed by the people who were here. How the fuck you discover something to somebody already there? Also, it's not that lynchings aren't happening anymore. It's more so the fact that authorities are just ruling them suicides instead. Psychologists literally said it's already uncommon for young black men to commit suicide as it is. It's almost unheard of for black men to commit suicide by hanging themselves. And black people's suicide rate alone is 60% lower than their white counterparts. This article and articles similar to this were written in 2020, right after the George Floyd incident. And I also think that people forget that a major part of lynching isn't just a hanging, it's also the fact that you're publicly killing an individual who has not received any due process whatsoever. With that being said, we witnessed this on video.
Yeah, so you all, and more, not just this, more and more are still happening, right? And there are being tagged suicide. Like in my last video about this, I said black people do not commit suicide. I am not saying they, but the rate is like, you don't see a black man commit by hanging. It's something, they don't know black people with that kind of story. All right. And to those arguing with me, I hope this video, I hope you find it in good health. Yeah, I hope you watch it also in good health. All right. This is where I'm gonna call it a day. See you all in my next video. And you know what? Thank you all for the support. Bye for now.